Welcome to my channel, Kooky Cosmologists. I'm the out-of-body atheist, and today we're going to talk about why the Kalam Cosmological argument is deeply flawed and kind of useless, and why I really wish we would just leave it alone and let it be dead and move on to something better. The Kalam Cosmological argument is in essence a three-part syllogism with two premises and a conclusion. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. It originated back around the 6th century CE and was originally made, according to archaeological records, by a dead guy named John Philoponus in Byzantine Egypt. This logical argument is used to argue for the existence of a god by notable apologists, including the infamous William Lane Craig. I think it's safe to say that this is one of the more popular arguments for the existence of a god, and especially for a Christian god. So let's start by saying it is a sound syllogism. If we accept the premises, the conclusion follows logically. But there are a multitude of glaring issues with this argument, many of which I probably don't even know about. If I miss your favorite problem, please make sure you let me know what it is in the comments, so we can all get brainier together. First of all, we cannot accept the premises. Thanks to quantum mechanics, we can no longer say that everything that begins to exist has a cause. I'm going to point to some examples of things beginning to exist without a cause, because I think it's just important for us to have empirical evidence of, things that totally break the premise. Quantum fluctuations have been observed and are uncaused events. In 1947, Willis Lamb and Robert Rutherford used microwave techniques to poke at electron energy levels in hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen is the simplest element in the periodic table, so it's really nice to experiment on. It's not got a lot of parts. What Rutherford and Lamb observed was consistent with the spontaneous generation of virtual photons due to quantum fluctuations, and is considered to have demonstrated quantum fluctuations empirically. The mathematics of this experiment are far beyond the capabilities of this meager biologist, so I'm not going to pretend to even try to be able to explain the details of the experiment. But it is a direct observation in real time in controlled circumstances of an uncaused event, and directly contradicts one of the premises of the Kalam Cosmological argument. Forget about it. Radioactive decay was first observed by Henri Becquerel in 1896. While we can explain why it happens, there is no observable cause that triggers it. Radioactive decay is a very old, very useful, and very well understood example of an uncaused event, and yet another refutation of the first premise of the Kalam Cosmological argument. The second premise needs to be rejected out of hand because we do not know whether the universe began to exist. We know that the universe in its current state has a beginning, but there may have been a different organization of the matter and energy that makes up the universe prior to the Big Bang that we simply don't know about. The Big Bang may have followed mechanistically from whatever that prior organization of energy was. Or maybe the vacuum genesis hypothesis is true, and the universe did have a beginning, but that beginning was due to quantum fluctuations, and thus is itself an uncaused cause. The second premise is question-begging because it assumes we know something we do not. Finally, the conclusion of the Kalam Cosmological argument is problematic as used by apologists. There is no God in the conclusion. We cannot pretend that it is an argument for a God if the argument does not contain a God. An argument for any God must necessarily conclude with that God's existence, or it is not an argument for that God. That's not what the argument is for. The Kalam Cosmological argument is an argument that the universe has a cause, and nothing more. If we could accept the premises, and we can't, we still wouldn't be able to accept the conclusion that there is a God. Basically, all this is, from the perspective of apologetics, is just another God of the gaps. Apologists assume that if they can just drill a little hole in somewhere, they can shove their God in that hole, and if it fits, it must be right. But the God of the gaps is exactly as silly and sophomoric and just pathetic as any other example of making holes in things just to shove something in them. I don't know, therefore God is never an argument. Using an argument to get to I don't know, and then shoving in God, still isn't an argument. At best, it's a non sequitur, and at worst, it's just another pathetic attempt to get your theological rocks off. We cannot accept the premises of the Kalam Cosmological argument, and even if we could, it doesn't get us to a God. It doesn't necessitate a God, it doesn't demonstrate a God. Using the Kalam Cosmological argument to argue for a God is as pointless as using my screwdriver to hammer in a nail. That isn't what it's for, and if a serious woodworker saw me doing it, including Jesus, they would just shake their head and feel sorry for me. You don't score any points with that argument. It does not make you look smart. You just sound like a broken record when you bring it up, and I really, really wish we could move on to something better. Continuing to abuse ourselves with the mental masturbation that is the Kalam Cosmological argument just makes us collectively dumber. If you like my argument, whether or not you agree with it, make sure you like this video. You should definitely subscribe because there is just so much to cover. It won't all be atheist stuff because atheism is just a negation of the claim that there is a God. Boring. But with the rise of a blatantly evangelical government in the United States, I'm pretty sure we won't run out of things to talk about. I'll see you next time, and remember, keep your mental masturbation to yourself or a consenting partner, and don't try to pretend it's philosophically rigorous. I enjoy arguing with strangers on the internet, and you are welcome to respond to this video in a video of your own. Please either email me or leave me a comment indicating that you have responded to my video. Include a link to your response video. By responding to this or any other video, you grant me permission to respond to your response video. Here are a couple of other videos I've made. Click on one to continue wasting time on YouTube, but don't forget to like this video first.